Hi, good evening. Welcome. Sabadi, my name is Sengmani Labut. I am the executive director here at the Eastside Freedom Library, and I want to welcome you all tonight for the Solidarity Street Gallery night reading here at the Eastside Freedom Library. So before we move on with our program, just want to do some housekeeping. We are streaming this through Zoom as well as Facebook. For our Zoom participants, if you could please use the speaker view option on your Zoom instead of gallery view. Also, please keep your video and audio mute. And for questions, when we come to questions, please use the chat function for questions with the letter Q in front of your question so we know that they're questions. And for our Facebook audience, please comment, share, like, heart emoji our event here, and also use the comment function for questions, again, with the Q, letter Q in front of your question as well. And so for tonight, we have wonderful readers here with us as well as in-person audience. And I would like to pass the mic to one of our board member of the Eastside Freedom Library, Sarah Degnar Riveros. Thank you.
Good evening. It's my honor to introduce our first reader. Narate Keys is a Khmer Cambodian poet, author, and medical manual therapist from Saint Paul, Minnesota. She is author of a collection of songs and poetry, The Good Life, poetry book, The Changes, Immigration Footprints of Our Journey, and co-author of Planting Seeds. Keys' family lived through the atrocious Khmer Rouge genocide in Cambodia. She was born in a Thai refugee camp. Keys has performed her poems in Washington, D.C., the Loft Literary Center, Springboard for the Arts, St. Cloud State University, Dragon Boat Festival, May Day Festival, and feature artist for Minnesota 8's fundraising, amongst others. She was selected as a storytelling recipient through Twin Cities Media Alliance, and she has work in the St. Paul Almanac, Lyricality, and hanging on the wall of the new building up for the Springboard for the Arts in St. Paul. She was a 2021 award recipient from the Minnesota State Arts Board. Join me in welcoming Narate Keys.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. My name is Narate Keys, and I'm going to read 3 poems with you today. And the first one is called Haunted. My dark shadow spies upon the spirit. My obsessives dawn upon me. The energy awakened, weakened by the electricity leak. Life can be full of opportunity, yet disadvantage. Midnight gray awakened to listen to the world of shame. Midnight grays awakened to the world of emptiness. Midnight gray awakened, and loudly it stands out. The second poem that I'm going to read to you is called Toxic Beauty in the Nail Salon. When the clock struck 22, I was awakened by the smell of dew, searching for the second wind to knock my soul off my feet. Split into 2 created unchanged melody. A whiff of formaldehyde, the second wind rushed through like Katrina. Numerous times of any given day, these solid breeze multiply 1, restore the nervous system 2 and 3, rapidly change the rhythm of my heartbeat. Slowly speak to me, asking me to count 3 steps backwards, off to the next salon, looking for the unknown victim, run as it can see or smell or hide, knowing the unknown is present, but time spread daily to make do. Cash flow to support family isn't enough when the clock strikes 22. The final chapter reveals my unborn child had stopped breathing. I faint due fatigue. My dizzy spell conquer all. Death of soul depleting. Deadly chemical silently spilled, unsure, unknown, untested to notice. The danger of nail salon beauty rests in the hand of our story, your story. One universal clock strike noon, awaken all soul into active change, of steel into movement. A chain of change, a change in you, a change in us. When the clock struck 22, I was awakened by the smell of dew, searching for the second wind to knock my soul off my feet. The last poem I'm going to read to you is called Blinking Light. And when clients asked me to perform today, I thought I'm just going to write a new poem and a spooky poem. And this one comes about blinking light. Blinking light at midnight, listening to the rain trickling down, taking flight. Soul searching, spirit shifting to see us, to guide us. Founding feather, father, found and to protect us. I search, I wander, I ponder. Lost but light, look and shine. Look, I am here, beaming with you, playing upon your physical needs and completely understand where you have been through, to the sound of whispering into the physical being, beaming light again, blinking light at midnight, watching snow trickling down, taking flight, storm of emotion ranting. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of us. You are home.
Thank you so much, Narate. Our next reader is Cole W. Williams. Cole is an arrow-slinging idealist, advocate for critical thinking and curiosity, an all-or-nothing type of girl, a gold miner for truth. Passionately supporting emerging artists, randomly writing her own words, she stands for water and for the river. She plants seeds of inspiration wherever she goes, as the muse of being exactly who you are. Forthcoming work will be featured in the Florida Review, Waterstone Review, Journal X, and Ran Off with a Star Bassoon. She has been featured on Authors on the Air, CBS Women's Watch, and GSMC Podcast for her children's books. Join me in welcoming Cole to the stage.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm Cole Williams. Invocation. What is separate from the aggregate? Molded silicate from sand, molecule of oxygen from air, a person from us. The fence. There exists a fence over off yonder, old weatherwood posts, a place we often ponder. Slag wire connects the wood. Wind whips right on through. Been dividing us forever now. We go there to learn the truth. We've met at this line before. You stand just on the other side. We face each other at the fence. The laws of property we abide. A place to know our dualism. A place we go to stew. a place we know is trusted to keep dividing me from you. I stand in the dusty dirt looking over. I stand there remembering the truth. We once grew up together. What do we have to lose? How hard would it be to meet at the line? How hard to clip the wire? Is it possible to meet in the middle? Is this what people desire? My next poem is titled Tent City. It's a golden shovel. The homeless were at it again, not living for invisibility. The sun's presence pressed upon lean-tos made of civil debris, portable grills, the shopping cart full and unwashed, stacks of clean firewood neatly chopped, and bikes, so many bikes, the aerial configuration disorganized, half-educated, no rhyme, no reason, no need to maximize the square footage of lots. Stationed along the formless river plains, tell me, is the camp much different from the queer bohemian flats of old Minneapolis? Chaos below street signs and the hustle up top? Are the stories incomplete? Every day we pass while waiting for the Robert Street light. An unreasonable lot they are, the woman yelled to me, and through our truck window she said, absurd the tent city denied our welfare. The man chimed in, they only want money. Their infinite darkness, mounds of miscellaneous shapes. I see sleeping bags, I spy red. Where's the police, our delightful solution to remove human tendencies disfavorable, like a tadpole, make them disappear. The takeout food tossed over the bridge, a horizon cluttered with remnants of living. Would placing them indoors soften the contrast, not only help them, but us too? They wear an uncomfortable defiance, one so strong it's indiscernible. On the wide boulevard of the tent city, I spy a child playing, laughing. I saw them grin. I'm going to close with a short poem with no title. The bamboo wind chimes are speaking to me. Dunk, 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 dunk. Why aren't you ambling through life like this? I'll pause and let you hear the crickets. Thank you.
Thank you, Cole. Our next reader is Chavonn Williams Shen, a 2022 McKnight Writing Fellow who was a first runner-up for the Los Angeles Review Flash Fiction Contest. She was a Best of the Net Award finalist, a Pushcart Prize nominee, a winner of the Loft Literary Center's Mentor Series, a fellow with the Givens Foundation for African American Literature, and an instructor for the Minnesota Prison Writing Workshop. A Tin House and Vona Workshop alum, her writing has appeared in Diode, Anomaly, Yamasi, Cosmonauts Avenue, and others. Join me in welcoming Chavonn to the stage.
Hello, I'd like to thank Clarence so much for inviting me, as well as the Eastside Library staff and Solidarity Street workers for putting this event together. Thank you, my fellow performers, and thank you, audience, for making this a show, including the online audience. I have some short poems, and hopefully you like them. This first one is called Worms. I apologize to worms whenever I remember that I'm upending their worlds with each uprooted vegetable. My father used to be an uprooted, harvest celery, carrots, and onions for our waiting mouths. With bruised fingers and a mouth made salty from sweat, I listen as he tells me how he grew up with a mouth made salty from curses left unsaid, and how his fingers used to harvest for white folk, their mouths full of slurs left to bake in the Mississippi sun. Years later, he'd have his own garden that he come to love. He'd save seeds from Minnesota's unrelenting frost. He'd name the flowers he planted. When I can, I thank the worms and their work to make my father's land love him back. This next one is called Litany. It's in honor of Yuri Kochiyama, Grace Lee Boggs, and other revolutionaries. Excuse me. May this be so. May those ahead of us turn your words when solidarity seems impossible. May your lives be a reminder that solidarity is what binds us to this earth. Without it, we're untethered. Please forgive us when the truth feels like dry dirt and ignorance like silk, when we choose what makes us feel good over what feels right. When ignoring our siblings feels easy, may we pursue justice. May we walk through your mistakes without stopping. May this litany become muscle memory. May it serve to put fires in our stomachs. May this fire seek to enlighten rather than rage. May our rage be useful. May your legacy be our light. May your unfinished dreams through us become realities. Amen. May this be so. May we will it so. And this last poem is called Meditations on Absence. 1. I bite my tongue so much, I wonder why I still bleed when my words get picked apart. 2. I have my eulogy prepared in case I meet handcuffs. 3. Those unlike me are surprised by police violence when instead they should be asking, I wonder who will be next. Thank you.
Thank you, Chavonn. Gen Del Rey is half Japanese and was born and raised in Kyoto, Japan. His work has appeared in the Gettysburg Review and Poetry Northwest, among others. And he is the winner of the Up North and Great Midwest Poetry Contests. Join me in welcoming Gen to the stage.
Hi. Oops. Am I talking loud enough? I've often been accused of being a soft talker, so okay, great. I just have one poem that I wanted to read. I know it's sort of cheating, but I kind of wanted to talk about how I came to write the poem and sort of the background of it before I read it. So this poem, I wrote it when I was walking under the Cedar Avenue Bridge, and I saw that someone had spray painted on the concrete underneath the bridge. They'd written "Shinitai," which is that's Japanese for "I want to die," and it wasn't actually in Japanese. It was written in it was transliterated into English, so it was like English characters, but the word was Japanese. And when I saw that, I thought about how language is so much about foreignness and belonging, I think. And as someone, I sort of grew up between languages, so when I saw that, I thought about sort of probably projecting my own experience onto this person, how you could sometimes choose to take on foreignness as a sort of a refuge from larger things. So this is a poem about that. Before I read it, I also wanted to say, if this person, if they're out there and if they read this poem at some point, I really hope they're still okay. So it's called To the person who painted Shinitai under the Cedar Avenue Bridge in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We write to ourselves, don't we? Even when we write to others. I've read things to packed rooms I would not say to my mother. Graffiti is a private grief committed in public. Maybe one language transcribed into the alphabet of another is the private language you chose. I would have said it different as a kid, when what I chose was switching language so fast only my friends could keep track. When I othered myself to strangers listening for the sake of privacy alone. Stranger, I want to tell you, I read your message in 2020 on the Cedar Avenue Bridge in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the middle of America, overlooking the waters at the heart of America, in this city where few people will understand. If it were me, I would have written it different. Here with the pulse of truck tires rushing over our heads, here with the high span of concrete pinning the clouds. I would have climbed, I would have ridden. I want to shinu, daishtai, and would have trusted, like you did, that no one but the two of us would know. Okay, next.
Thank you, Ken. Our next reader is Kasey Payette, a fiction writer and essayist based in Minneapolis. Her work has appeared in Calyx Journal, Gulf Coast Review, Juked, Revolver, and Waterstone Review. Her writing has been supported by the Loft Literary Center's Mentor Series program and the Minnesota State Arts Board. She is currently at work on her first novel. Join me in welcoming Kasey to the stage.
Hi everyone, it's an honor to be part of this reading tonight. I'm going to be sharing a short essay I wrote called An Egg is Still an Egg. This essay can be found in the latest issue of Blue Earth Review if you want to find it. An egg is still an egg. Humans have always eaten eggs since before we learned to cook with fire. We ate eggs snatched from the nests of ancient birds, white and yolk tipped raw down the throat, like the oysters I shared with a lover last summer, that short break in the long loneliness. Now it's winter again. I'm alone in my kitchen. A pot of boiling water fogs the windows. I thought by now things would be better, but the virus keeps mutating. The pandemic still rages. The world outside is a parade of apocalypses. Plus, she left me. I loved her. The memory of eating shellfish in the sun together now feels like a hallucination. These days, it seems nothing works as it should. Everything's short-circuited, haywire. But an egg is still an egg. Eggs still come 6, 12, 18 to a carton. Water still boils on an open flame. The shape and weight of an egg in the hand is familiar, the way a bedmate is familiar, the way soil is familiar to trees. The side of a bowl still cracks an egg. An egg's insides still slippery, private, almost embarrassing in their tenderness and cling. I'm learning to make perfect poached eggs. I don't have the ambition to learn a new instrument, finish my novel, or even bake focaccia, but I want to prove my brain can still learn, that the old rules of draft and revision still work, even now. I want something to be proud of. So I poach eggs and make a big deal of it, researching methods and improving the process until I get it right. Something, if just this one thing, is still in my control. A splash of vinegar in a pot of water should make egg whites set faster. A wooden spoon should swirl boiling water into a perfect vortex. The centrifugal force of the vortex should hold the eggs together. And when the egg is sufficiently cooked, a slotted spoon should lift it from the water unbroken. I crack an egg, its calcium carbonate shell leaving white dust on the black pot, and tip its slippery insides into the center of the vortex. I follow directions, but still my first try fails, yolk broken. Boil too high, wispy egg entrails billowing throughout the pot. I back up, start over, dump the water, and rinse the pot. I text my coworker's husband, a known poached egg enthusiast, and he gives me tips. A steady simmer is better than a raging boil. 3.5 minutes is better than 4. As isolated as I am, living alone, working from home, and conducting all my social interactions via apps, even this small correspondence about poached egg technique makes me feel more alive. After sacrificing a few eggs to the learning process, I hit my stride. The choreography flows: simmer, stir, splash, crack, swirl, lift. My eggs hold together, concise pillows of sustenance, striking the balance between translucent and opaque, fluid and firm, exposed and self-contained. They yield to the fork, yolk glistening across toast or tortilla. The next weekend, I make breakfast to eat during a Zoom brunch: corn tortillas, pinto beans, pickled red onions, and a poached egg, all assembled on a mustard yellow plate garnished with cilantro. I make breakfast hash, savory oatmeal, soba noodles, and broccoli, everything topped with a poached egg so smooth and bright it could be whipped cream, ricotta, or snow. I text pictures of my poached eggs to friends who, lonely and touch-starved as me, describe them as sexy, sensual, and it's true. The way the soft cook white folds over itself or rises in ripples, malleable but firm. The way the punctured yolk is both liquid and solid. Poached eggs are graphic, edging up against grotesquerie the way memorable beauty tends to. But these eggs reveal their privacy in whispers. Their tenderness holds its shape. In my kitchen, I am hand, egg, water, flame. Through the window, the yolk of the sun drops into its own curved bowl. I still have a body. I am yet a creature, a warm-blooded mammal, an animal of a species known for making fire, for gathering at the hearth. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Clarence White. I am the Associate Director here at the Eastside Freedom Library. First, I want to thank the audience for being here today, or tonight, this evening, and all of our readers. I am extremely grateful to all of you for being here and creating this wonderful soup of words and literature and ideas. I want to remind people, well, tomorrow will be the last day of the Solidarity Street Gallery, which is here on the east side. It sort of cropped up during the pandemic when we realized that there wasn't going to be an art crawl in that first year of the pandemic, and also because we really want to highlight what's happening here on the east side. There are many studios, many artists who are here now, and creating culture here, not just in St. Paul and the Twin Cities, but here in this very diverse part of town. And we're doing it in a context where we are also working to not gentrify the area in that process. We have a housing justice program that is very active and has engaged many people with that issue and many others, so we're grateful for that. As a lot of you know, we have a lot of things happening here at the Eastside Freedom Library. And tomorrow is one of those things. We have our Solidarity Labor Picnic. Charlie McGuire will be here playing music. Larry Long will be here playing music. There will be food to share. So come and join us. Also, right now in our basement, we have an exhibit that is called, can you help me?
Faces of Solidarity.
Faces of Solidarity, which is a photographic pictorial portrait of many of the people who were part of the Solidarity movement in Poland in the early 80s. We are having conversations that intersect a lot of stories around solidarity, around freedom, around justice, and hopefully you can join us for that as well. We also have an event on Sunday. There are a lot of things going on. So Todd Harper will be here with music and his art. So please join us for that. Again, thank you readers for being here. We have a very, very strong artists and literary tradition here, as well as very active artist activists, scholar activists, community activists, and people who want to tell a truer narrative of the society that we live in. And we're glad that you're all here tonight, either online or here in person to help us celebrate and move that forward. I also want to point out that this event is being recorded. So if you want to share this later with some friends or you just want to remember the night, it'll be on our YouTube channel. As most of our events are, it'll also be archived on our Facebook videos. So you're more than welcome to take another look, and I hope that you will. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic back to Sarah.
Thank you, Clarence. And we hope to see folks at a lot of those upcoming events, hopefully tomorrow and Sunday. Our next reader, Michael Kleber-Diggs, writes poems, essays, and book reviews from his home in Saint Paul. His debut poetry collection, Worldly Things, published by Milkweed Editions in 2021, won the Max Ritvo Poetry Prize, the 2022 Hefner Heinz Kansas Book Award in Poetry, the 2022 Balcones Poetry Prize, and was a finalist for the 2022 Minnesota Book Award. He also teaches creative writing in Augsburg University's low residency MFA program, and he teaches in the Minnesota Prison Writers Workshop. His poems and essays appear in numerous journals and anthologies. Join me in welcoming Michael to the stage.
Middle-aged rock star with your tricky Achilles and your janky ankle, with your plantar fasciitis and torn meniscus, with your lower T, you're always kind of soft. Softer now as days get harder. A message awaits you in the portal app your specialists use. Bad news. Bad news elsewhere, encrypted behind a password protected dock delivery device you pay for so your tax pro can say you'll be fined for delay. At home, tall piles grow taller. The retaining wall wants work. Your soffits suck. Your fascia are falling apart. Call your mom, Michael. Answer your kid FaceTiming you from college. Get up early when your cats mew for food. Stand out late so your dogs don't have to wait. Then take different doses of melatonin. Butts to each other. Far apart on your California king. Still pristine. Apply steroid cream to the crack in your left heel. Feel your back start to relax. Think about sleep. Niece next spring, insulating your attic. Wonder if there still will be an ED. Formulate questions for the visit with your retirement guy Wednesday night. Ask about your Social Security, your Roth IRA, 401k, mandatory minimum distributions. Your friend Vicky turns 50 this Thursday. Turn the lights on. Get down on your knees. Try to find your Sonic Youth shirt. I'm getting older, is what I'm saying in the poem. Thank you so much for having me here. I'd like to meet a poached egg enthusiast. That sounds really cool to me. Thank you, Eastside Freedom Library. I love this place. I've had so many cool gatherings here, and this is one of them. Two more relatively short poems for me. I just want to say, I don't feel like we have a choice for governor. We can't have Scott Jensen. We can't have Matt Burke. Unacceptable. And so one of the things I think we need to do is support Tim Walz toward a progressive vision for Minnesota. One of the things that's frustrating for me is this tendency we have, after centuries now, of seeing it fail, to believe that the way to public safety is more police, more incarceration, longer sentences, stiffer punishments. It has not worked for 200 plus odd years, and it's not going to start working now. I was reflecting back on what Clarence was sharing about the events that will be happening here in the coming days, about the kind of community that they want to see built around this important institution. Everybody here knows it. I think most of the people listening to me understand it too. Justice is the way. We're not going to incarcerate our way to safety. People need jobs, housing, healthcare, living wages, housing, safety, real care. After they left, we policed ourselves, restored our spirits in quiet tasks till the earth ran red with iron and sweat. We culled old seeds from the cavernous cold to rejoin them with the heartsick soil, then tended our crops by hand. Every day, everyone bent down on knees to pull the weeds away. Pests took their part, but left plenty. Each harvest, the village gathered together, to each a share. For all it had suffered, our body stayed whole. Trauma dissipated. Where our wounds were acute, we applied more salve, calling our injured closer in as we sang to them and gave them more fruit. I think Clarence was giving me a signal to add a poem, or okay. Yeah, happily. Here all alone. Raptors ride the thermals above Dakota. Beyond them, the sun appears closer, colder. Everything warm escapes, returns. 100 nations assemble in Congress, this time for water, where water is life. And I know this isn't my song to sing, but I wonder what God saves grace for hunters. Water cannons, fire hoses, nunk, pro-tunk. This land, once yours, was flooded and dammed. The same day our rondo was cleaved for a highway. And I know I've seen those attack dogs before, with the same blue force undoing brown bodies. Foulwater in Flint and Jackson, Goodwater in Bismarck, bullets, bulldozers, bad hikes, pipes, hollow promises. What birds are these? Still circling, circling, while God denies grace for the hunted. Warm air scent rising makes gliding look easy, while shale beneath us fractures, relents. So why must the earth grow colder than harden and leave us to shiver here all alone, singing sad songs of forefathers, while above the raptors exhort us to pray to a God who saves grace for hunters. This is a poem I wrote for a fundraiser we held in the community after the Dar al-Farouk Mosque was bombed. I meant it as a prayer to ecumenical ways. I love that a better poem has since been written by the members of the mosque and other people from the faith community who turned out to plead for leniency for some of the people who had bombed their house of worship. And I believe that that is the way. What name for this? Do you hold salt or beads, wood or wool, someone else's hand or your own? Do you kneel, lift one hand high above your head? Or do you shine the light of your palms up toward sky? Do you raise your chin, close your eyes? Is light returned to you? Do you sit on a floor, shoeless, chant? Do you fold your body gently onto itself, shins to earth, seat to feet, chest to knees? Are you among brothers or sisters? Are you alone sometimes? Do you call it morning light or dawn prayer? Is it the flower offering or do you ask for daily bread? What do you say at dusk, at night? And what do you seek in supplication? What do you offer? Water or fruit, flowers or incense? Do you give your servant self? To what, may I ask? To what? I rest my sit bones on wood and wool, on leather. My feet touch carpet, pine, metal. I make circles and lines. Sometimes everything reduces to circles and lines. I call this providence. I know that's not the right word. I find this at home in my kitchen or at my desk. Sometimes this finds me when I'm on a bicycle surrounded by cars or trees, shoulders low and curved, back arched, my chest deflated and down and mean, at work to keep everything round. Sometimes there I hear birds or squirrels chant above me. Other times I am summoned to spaces magnified in community. What name for this? I feel called. I walk forward to say this is what I have to offer. One part of my small story. Or this is what I've witnessed. I want you to notice it too. My hands, my grasp. Sometimes they only claim air. Sweet siblings, we're here together. Either way, what name must we give to the this beyond our words? Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Clarence White lives in Saint Paul, Minnesota, where he is Assistant Director of Eastside Freedom Library, where he curates programs and events and spaces for solidarity like this. Clarence teaches at Minneapolis College. He's an avid biker, a typewriter poet, a baseball fan, and a proud father. He's worked with the St. Paul Almanac, and he was a Gibbons Fellow for African American Literature. Recently, he's been writing a series of pandemic poems since 2020, and he's up to about 160. Join me in welcoming Clarence to the stage.
Thanks, everyone. I think I'm up to number 163 is in the typewriter, so yes, I'm still working on it. So I'm going to read a couple of the pandemic poems. I do write them on typewriters, and I love the feeling, love the sound, love the aesthetic. Everyone should have a typewriter. So if you do not have a typewriter, get in touch with me. I will make sure you get a typewriter. And if you're saying, oh, I don't need a typewriter, you might be, yes. I have 40, so actually, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to read one of them because I don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad. So if they're all bad, I only want it to be one. And if it's good, you can just imagine that the others are just as wonderful. So, this is pandemic poem number 88. It's called Alone. Sometimes this is a delight. Sometimes it is an ache. And every sound, every flicker of light, or the pressing darkness tweaks the fine nerves of my spirit. I feel the echo of hurt in this vast solitude, and on the bright days, I let this space hold me. See myself like a bit of vast love that has too much space to fill. Where does alone begin? Where does it end? Is this an afternoon to be cursed, affliction to be cursed or solved? What can I do with this? Are you there? There is a silence in their outer space, or is that inner space? I cannot feel the warmth so far away. This infinity is a mirror. What now do I know?
Okay, our next readers. An enrolled member of the Sisseton-Wahpeton Dakota, Strong Buffalo is a decorated Vietnam veteran and has traveled to more than 31 countries for the International Treaty Council, Indigenous Uranium Forum, and One People Foundation. His words are translated into more than 17 languages in 4 published books, 6 CDs, and lectures and performances that contribute to building a world where we use options other than war, racism, and classism to solve problems. And Ben Weaver is a songwriter and poet who travels by bicycle. He uses his music as a tool to strengthen relationships between people and their local ecosystems, with a focus on protecting fresh water. Ben is a poet, songwriter, letterpress printer, bookmaker, public speaker, and endurance cyclist. He creates work that breaks down the emotional and systemic structures separating humans from the ability to feel our connections to the greater web of life and each other. Ben's most recent project, The Buffalo Weavers, is a collaboration with Strong Buffalo and others. Please join me in welcoming Strong Buffalo and Ben to the stage.
Hello.
Hello.
I overheard the trees talking to themselves as the wind slipped between their trunks and the red birds of my blood swam through watery stars. This is what I heard. Grief and magic coexist. Everything you need is already present inside you. The medicine is scattered everywhere. Appeal to people's spirits rather than their training. Validate their willingness to deviate. Remember, both action and inaction have an impact. This work is an honor, not a burden. So stay with the inquiry of how it can always be better. When you address plants, animals, and water as the living beings that we are, we will tell you profound things, particularly that your reality is only as diverse as the relationships that you nurture. So don't personify the river, riverify yourself. Restore your courage in the flash of their teeth. Name yourself after the land. Don't name the land after yourself. A heart the size of a match will burn out like one too. Always work in service of imagination. Sit close to the fire and keep it true. Don't retreat to your private life. The predictable stories, those are the ones lived in fear, while the stories with no clear endings or beginnings are the ones lived in witness to love. Get as close to the darkness as an owl. Consider that the answers you seek are spiritual, not material, thus forever fluid. In order to receive them, you must hollow yourself of untruths so that their truth might ring through you. Reciprocity. Transaction and reciprocity, they're not the same. Remember, conflict can be the work working. Aim for the heart to affect the mind so that hands can reach. And don't fret, there's more water coming to join the river.
This one's called Trees and Leaves. Under the darkened pandemic sun, wildfires are burning us. The sparks of social justice are ablaze. We shake, we fall, we cry, we wither. But relatives, with our family, the air, the water, the land, and all of life, we should begin loving being ourselves, because we are the glorious and beautiful trees and leaves, who's giving good air to breathe and cool shade from the pending heat. Because our limbs are strong, Our seeds are good. Our roots are deep. Because we are now the glorious and beautiful trees and leaves standing up for what is right.
You could rake leaves while the glaciers melt and horses stand somewhere in a field with the sound of wind blowing rain into their manes. You could go to a job you don't love, live in a house you don't want, sit in traffic and feel trapped watching the eagles dive above the light posts and power lines. Or you could stop raking and lay down in the dirt, the leaves scattering around you, smelling like the coming snow and the rattling ghosts of summer lightning. You could pick up a river and hold it to your eye, watch a turtle crawl through it, the light turbulent out of the sky beyond the bluffs. Instead of serving these mad corporations and lawmakers oblivious to the dew on the pig's hindquarters at morning, or the effort it takes ducks to find food after such a wet summer, you could sit around a fire next to the lake and listen as the water carries voices from a canoe out somewhere near the middle, back to your camp along the stony shore. And as the fire licks at the red pines, you could uncover a memory that smells like moose hooves and orchids, wild rice hulls, and trumpeter swans, and helps you to remember the millions of invisible miracles which must occur within the sky so that a blizzard can become a blizzard. This memory is what the mad kings and architects of the anthropomorphic rivers want you to forget. Because if you do not remember the smell or the feel of the land, then you'll believe anything they tell you about it, including that it is just another body to exploit. But if you remember the sound of waves pulling back through the hair of beaches, or the ring of wind among icicles and sparrow caves, then you haven't forfeited all of your freedom and power to the ruthlessness of modern convenience. And if you remember otters sliding across the lake at dusk, or bear rushing back into the alder, then you also know that you are among the millions of invisible miracles which must occur within the sky so that a blizzard can become a blizzard. And if you can remember this, then you can speak, sing, and dream loud as thunder for every quiet piece of land and water on this earth, because you have not forgotten that you, not the mad kings, are the one with power.
I feel like Abbott and Costello here. We're so used to performing together, so we're just going to do another one that we do. Yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah, hey. Ta, ti, ta, ko, ta, ma, ko, che. You are on Dakota land. Yeah, yeah, hey. Yeah, yeah, hey. Yeah, yeah, hey. The old ones fear that soon there'll be no more Indian language. And the old ones fear that soon there'll be no more Indian songs. And the old ones fear that soon there'll be no more Indian prayers. That it will be the end of the world. For being Indian is a daily manifestation of natural prayer, living in balance with the original songs of harmony. If this we do not recognize, then we all will have no more language, only noise. No more songs, only sounds. No more prayers, only fears. One ocean, one land, one people, oneness in one life. Ya, ya, hey, ya, ya, hey. Ta, di, da, ko, ta, ma, ko, che. You are on Dakota land.
Thank you so much, Ben and Strong Buffalo. In light of Michael's poem earlier, I wanted to share an invitation. The Tawfiq Islamic Center on Minnehaha was broken into and defaced and robbed this past weekend. And there's a need for solidarity in the community to show support and to fight against that hate crime. And so there's a community event tomorrow organized by CARE here in the community in support of the Muslim community. Join us if you can. Tomorrow, September 10th, 3 to 5 p.m. at the Tawfiq Islamic Center, 2400 Minnehaha Avenue, Minneapolis. It's a tremendous honor to welcome our next and final reader to the Solidarity Street reading and to Eastside Freedom Library. Beverly Cottman is an interdisciplinary artist, creating at the intersections of literary, visual, and performance art. As a storyteller, Auntie Beverly delivers wisdom of the ages by telling stories, folk tales, and fables rooted in African and African American traditions, as well as cultural tales from around the world. Auntie Beverly presents an enthusiastic and interactive storytelling program suitable and adaptable for any age or setting. Her storytelling sessions pass on values, celebrate culture, and invite listeners to participate in the telling. Her readings and workshop sessions support and encourage participants to create compelling narratives and stories that educate, enlighten, and entertain. Please join me in welcoming Auntie Beverly to the stage.
Thank you. And thank you to the Eastside Library. Wow, this is great. I remember when we started. This is fantastic. And as long as we repeat, call their names, they will not be forgotten and they will not disappear. I'm going to try to go back just a little bit. Solidarity, what exactly does it mean? Where did it come from? There is a book called You Don't Know Us Negroes. It is a collection of essays that's just been published by Zora Neale Hurston, some of which have never been published before. I think it is absolutely marvelous and exciting and wonderful that we can still find works of people that we thought we've seen everything that they've done, and then all of a sudden, oh no, in a little box somewhere, there's a stack of things. And in that she says, the Negro reality is 100 times more imaginative and entertaining than anything that has ever been hatched up over a typewriter. From now on, the writers must back their rubbish with something more substantial than lay figure of the past decade. Go hard or go home. Instead of coloring up coconut grease in the kitchen, go buy a cow and treat the public to some butter. She was amazing. She was just amazing. So the things that I'm going to share with you today are things that I think could form a foundation for why we even think about solidarity and where it comes from. If We Must Die by Claude McKay. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock of our accused lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men who will face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. Mr. Claude McKay. So, 1977, a poem from Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer by June Jordan. You used to say, June, honey, when you come down here, you supposed to stay with me. Where else? Meaning home against the beer, the shotguns, and the point of view of white men don't never see black anybody's without some violent itch start up. The ones who say no niggers voting in this town. Let's be feet first to the booth. Then jailed, you beat your brutal, bloody, battered beat. You blew beyond the feeling of the terrible and failed to stop you. Only God could, but he won't stop you, fortress for self-pity. Humble as woman anywhere, I remember finding you inside the laundromat in Ruleville, lion spine relaxed. Hell, what's the point to courage when you wash and clothes? But that took courage, just to sit there, target to the killers looking for your singing face, perspire through the rents and spin, and later you stood mighty in the door of James Street loud calling, bullets are no bullets, the food is cooked and getting cold. We ate, a family tremulous, but fortified by turnips, okra, hand-picked like the lilies, filled to the very living full, one solid gospel sanctified, one gospel peace, one full black lily luminescent in homemade field of love. June Jordan, 1977, poem from Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. For My People by Margaret Walker. For my people, everywhere, singing their slave songs repeatedly, their dirges and their ditties and their blues and jubilees, praying their prayers nightly to an unknown God, bending their knees humbly to an unseen power. For my people, lending their strength to the years, to the gone years and the now years and the maybe years, washing, ironing, cooking, scrubbing, sewing, mending, hoeing, plowing, digging, planting, pruning, patching, dragging along, never gaining, never reaping, never knowing, and never understanding. For my playmates in the clay and dust and sand of Alabama, backyards playing baptizing and preaching and doctor and jail and soldier and school and mama and cooking and playhouse and concert and store and hair and Miss Chumby and company. For the cramped, bewildered years. We went to school to learn, to know the reasons why and the answers to, and the people who, and the places where, and the days when, in memory of the bitter hours when we discovered we were Black and poor and small and different, and nobody cared and nobody wondered and nobody understood. For the boys and girls who grew in spite of these things, to be man and woman, to laugh and dance and sing and play and drink their wine and religion and success, to marry their playmates and bear children and then die of consumption and anemia and lynching. For my people thronging 47th Street in Chicago and Lenox Avenue in New York and Rampart Street in New Orleans, lost, disinherited, dispossessed, and happy people filling the cabarets and taverns and other people's pockets and needing bread and shoes and milk and land and money and something all our own. For my people walking blindly, spreading joy, losing time, being lazy, sleeping when hungry, shouting when burdened, drinking when hopeless, tied and shackled and tangled among ourselves by the unseen creatures who tower over us omnipotently and laugh. For my people blundering and groping and floundering in the dark of churches and schools and clubs and societies, associations and councils and committees and conventions, distressed and disturbed and deceived and devoured by money-hungry, glory-craving leeches, preyed on by facile force of state and fade and novelty, by false prophet and holy believer. For my people standing, trying to fashion a better way from confusion, from hypocrisy and misunderstanding, trying to fashion a world that will hold all the people, all the faces, all the Adams and Eves and their countless generations. Let a new earth rise. Let another world be born. Let a bloody peace be written in the sky. Let a second generation of courage issue forth. Let a people loving freedom come to growth. Let a beauty full of healing and a strength of final clenching be the pulsing in our spirits and our blood. Let the martial songs be written. Let the dirges disappear. Let a race of men now rise and take control. For my people, by Margaret Walker. My foundations of solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Auntie Beverly. I would like to thank the audience for joining us tonight in person, for coming out in the rain here in the library, and also our online audience for being here with us tonight. To all the readers, thank you for your beautiful readings. Such powerful poetry to ground us in community, in solidarity. Thank you to Clarence White, who curated this program and so many programs here at the library. Thanks to Sangmani Labut, new Executive Director of Eastside Freedom Library. We're very grateful that in this, your first week here at the library, you're sharing your technology expertise in sharing this program in a new way, and the online audience can see the fruits of that. We'd like to thank the library founders, Beth Cleary and Peter Rockcliffe, for this vision for justice and solidarity here in the neighborhood on the East Side. for, as they sign their emails, creating space for love and solidarity. Thank you all for a wonderful evening.